Okay, so the organization I worked with is IDream Incorporated, which was founded in 2010, and their mission statement is to empower underserved and at-risk youth to accomplish their dreams and to have success in all areas of life. Mainly they do this through tutoring and mentoring, which they do on Saturdays. They're partnered with the Weston Academy, which is a part of Atlanta Public School System, and it's an alternative school, also known as a non-traditional school. iDream employs the help of college students to be tutors and school tutors, and so tutors come during school hours and work with students in classrooms, and we assist the students with their online coursework and also prepare them for standardized testing. The Weston Academy operates as a credit recovery program, so it does not act like a traditional school. Students are required to do their assignments online, and so it's a system called Grad Point, in which you do online lessons, and you have a pre-test and you have a post-test, and you basically do all the material on your own. Teachers act as facilitators, so it's not the teacher-to-student instruction that you would get in a normal setting. The students who are entering into Weston Academy are supposed to be fulfilling their requirements, such as if they failed the course and they need to repeat it, or if they have additional coursework that needs to be done. They're supposed to be 11th and 12th graders, but the Weston Academy does accept 10th graders as well. A lot of the kids end up in the Weston Academy because they were referred there, either because they were failing their classes because of someone becoming pregnant, behavior problems. Often with behavior problems, it's not necessarily that they're getting kicked out because they're in trouble. Sometimes it's just that suspensions can lead to you falling behind in your classwork, which will result in you failing. And of course, if you get in trouble with the law, dealing with the court system can have you out of school as well, which also contributes to them failing. So a lot of them fail their courses and then end up being referred to the Weston Academy. So iDream is hoping to remedy the problems. Can I talk to you about the way that the school is structured? The classrooms are separated by subjects and not grade level. So you have an English classroom, a social studies classroom, and a science classroom, but they all have different grade levels within that one classroom. So it's not often that the teachers don't want to teach, but with all the students being at various levels and doing their coursework at their own pace, the teachers really don't have the ability to work with the students in the traditional way. So therefore, iDream Inc., which is the nonprofit, and they provide the tutors. We go inside the classroom and we work with the students individually as they try to complete the coursework online. As far as how effective iDream is in accomplishing its mission of helping students to succeed is based largely on student receptivity. So oftentimes tutors come into the classroom and a lot of students are really eager to receive the help. But on the other hand, some students may feel that their peers will look at them as being less intelligent. So a lot of times they need help, but they reject it. As far as the environment, iDream has a separate room within the Weston Academy in which they try to replace this factory model of classroom settings and replace the desks with circular tables and bright colored chairs, and they have couches. And they also, if a kid can prove that they're capable of doing their work while listening to music, if they're in the iDream classroom, they can listen to music, because iDream is very about catering to students' learning abilities and their learning styles. And because they're in an alternative setting, they should have an alternative to working in the traditional school system. The iDream room provides the students with food, because another part of their mission is dealing with the hunger of children, and they know that if children are hungry, they're less likely to be able to succeed in doing their work. So they provide the children with food, coffee, water, and snacks when they come into the classroom. So as I worked with as I did the interviews and I talked to both the staff and the teachers, a lot of the teachers were concerned with not feeling as if they were able to grow as teachers, and feeling like the environment, because it prevents them from actually teaching and just being facilitators, that it actually prevented them from being able to grow as teacher and develop relationships with the students. They also felt like the environment wasn't conducive to the students learning, because if you had problems succeeding in a traditional school where you had a teacher right in front of you teaching you, obviously you're going to have problems when someone tells you to do the work online. The facilitators mainly set the test. Because there's a lot of pressure to graduate the students and to pass the students, oftentimes the teachers lower the expectations for the test so that the students can pass. And so they're not getting the traditional teacher instruction, therefore they're not passing the post-test. Therefore, the facilitators then have to lower and lower and lower the grades or inflate grades so that these children can start passing. Last year, 3/4 of the students who gave up their jobs. And then teachers also voiced that they felt that the issues were outside of the school system, that they had to be therapists, teachers, and parents to the students, and that they needed to see social changes because of the ways that poverty affects children's ability to be successful in school, and felt like social programs were necessary and systemic change. For some teachers, they felt as if it was only the family structure, single parent moms, being poor, and the environment as the issue. Other teachers felt it was more of the system and these policies like standardized testing, and others found that it was a mixture. When I talked to the students about the environment, they did enjoy the fact that the environment was smaller and it reduced the level of conflict among kids. And so in 17 years at the alternative school, there's only been 2 fights, which really counters the stereotype that the kids in alternative schools are very violent and dangerous. As far as behavioral problems, the most that happen with the kids is maybe having to tell kids to get out of the hallway, or there's a lot of disrespect because of the lack of closeness with the teachers and students, and so a lot of times kids may be asked to leave the classroom because of attitudes. What was that? Waiting for their teachers. As far as concerns with the public school system, they didn't really criticize the policies, but a lot of them felt like they were unfairly removed from their previous schools. Some were forced to go to the alternative school because of their parents. Others were didn't feel like they should have been there but were referred by administrators. Again, administrators and teachers have the incentive of pushing out failing kids, not just kids with behavior problems, but also kids with disabilities, for the fact that they have to keep their test scores high in order to seem successful and to achieve funding. And so even in speaking to the teachers, they complained about having to push students out into alternative schools to keep grades up. Students also shared stories with me about violence within their home lives, violence within their environments, gang affiliations. A couple of the students were homeless, and other stories about poverty and how it affects their lives. And if I have time, I'll get into those stories, but I'll move on. Research and statistics show that 1 in 5 black males and more than 1 in 10 black males were suspended in 2010, which was higher than any other race. Currently in 2014, all the following research was done at January 1st of 2014. So black students are 3 times more likely to be suspended than white students. They're also more likely to be referred to law enforcement. 1 out of 4 boys of color with disabilities and 1 in 5 girls with disabilities receive out-of-school suspension. Study shows that out-of-school suspension, expulsions, and referrals to alternative schools often push children out of schools and closer to a future in the juvenile system. In my conclusion, as far as my experience, and if I felt like IDream Inc. was successful in its goal, yes, I think it's a wonderful organization, but I do not feel that it remedies the ills that many of these students are dealing with. In order for the students to be successful, it was made clear by both teachers and staff that social and systemic change needs to happen. Get tough zero tolerance policies that really penalize students for small behavior problems ends up pushing students out of school. And so when we talk about dropout rates, oftentimes students are being pushed out instead of just dropping out. As you're suspended, or as when you're suspended from school, you fall behind, and if you're falling behind, you're not going to succeed and you're going to drop out. If you push into an alternative school where people aren't teaching you but telling you to sit in front of a computer, you're more likely to drop out. If you got in some type of juvenile trouble and you have to attend a bunch of court dates, you're more likely to drop out. So our policies around how we punish students contribute to students being pushed out of school, along with how policies around standardized testing push students outside of school, and also the importance of social factors in which the school cannot remedy, such as issues of poverty, hunger, homelessness, all have to be addressed for these students to be successful.